Okay, tell me what I said.
Just overall. So what we've been over so far is like
This is for George.
for George, yeah. So George, basically what we've been over so far is we were talking about supply and demand and how you can't just look at supply and demand as a whole. You got to look at each individual factors, whether it be like quality of products, the demand in certain areas, the demographic in that area, like how much money people make, the pricing overall, so that you can price your goods, all that, and how that can help your business overall with many different aspects. And then we also talked about how just because a business's revenue is high, it doesn't make much of a difference if they're in the negative. So you can, one way that you can look at like a private business's revenue is you can do the revenue per square foot. So you can look at a company like, let's say, Go Ape, and if they're making about $50 per square foot, then but then you can look at a company like Sky Zone where they're making like $150 per square foot. Was that what it was? Or $100? But they're making like 2 or 3 times the amount per square foot. Even though they're making less overall revenue, they're still profiting a lot more. So that would be a better business to like invest in or start and look into more. And then another cost that you've got to look at is employees, because employees obviously cost money. They cost money to train because those are days that you have to sacrifice another employee to train them, where no revenue work is getting done, where no profits are being made off of them. And then you've also got to take into account all the other factors, whether it be like sick days, time off, accidents that you have to pay insurance for. There are just all these other costs that like go around employees. So if there's like a 1,000 square foot company that has 100 employees, it's not going to be as profitable as a 1,000 square foot company with like 10 employees, because the 100 employees company has to pay more, and it's more of a cost, I guess, overall for them to pay for each of the employees.
Excellent. And those are just shortcuts, because in reality, when you're looking to start a business, the most important thing for yourself, for future investors, for the bank, when you're getting a loan, etc., is what is the net, right? We understand what the revenue might be, but we also need to understand what the cost might be. And then if we understand the revenue minus the cost, then we get the net. Well, if you're doing a benchmarking, you may not be able to understand what exactly another business's cost is to really understand how much revenue or how profitable the business is. Like, what is their return on investment? So this is one shortcut way, or one little trick to the trade. And so as you understand that, that will help you to understand what type of business model you want. And so you may have been saying, look, what I want to do, I want to do Go Ape. We're ready to do Go Ape. We've got all this stuff in place, etc. But once you realize the challenges with profitability, and remember, life has changes, or businesses have changes. So there's inclement weather, there's coronavirus. There's all kinds of things that can shut a business down temporarily. There could be road construction. When I was in the hotel industry, if there was construction on the road, nobody was coming to your hotel. I'm exaggerating, not nobody, but you would drop like maybe 30-40% of your occupancy, because people did not want to go past that traffic jam. So how do you build your product up so that it has enough value that instead of losing 40%, maybe you lose 20%? Like, you're going to lose some, but you don't have to lose all of that, right? So
it's about like cutting your losses.
Exactly. So if you build a sustainable model, then you will be able to weather the storm, right? Because there are some businesses that really thrive during this coronavirus break, and there's some businesses that went under, as you saw when you did the market analysis. Right, benchmarking. So with that in mind, what I wanted to do was I wanted to move forward. I'm not going to do the examples, but if you want to, you can do the examples on your own to figure out what is revenue per square foot or revenue per employee. But that was just to give you a feel for the gist of the basic information that you want to make sure that you're looking at when you do this. Another thing that I used to do when I was in the hotel industry is I had to understand what was coming on in the market, or what was about to happen in the market. So it could be that, so when I was in Mawa, they had UPS had a brand new training program come through, right? So they had employees staying at the hotel for like 3 weeks at a time, so like, 7 days a week. That's a great opportunity that that the people who were projecting revenue for the hotel may not have seen as something that was coming into the market. Also, when I worked for Courtyard by Marriott, I was working with Park Davis. Park Davis was under Warner Lambert, was a pharmaceutical company. They were doing Alzheimer's. They were doing an Alzheimer's drug, and they had this great drug. It had gone through the first clinical trial, first phase, second phase, and it was at the third phase where it was ready to market. And so, pharmaceutical companies, they pour a lot of money into events and commercials and all of that kind of stuff. And guess what? It didn't meet FDA requirement. So they had built this brand new multi-million-dollar facility and all this stuff, hired all this staff, et cetera. So now that they've hired all this staff, they have all these training programs on the books. Guess what? All that is cut. Initially, it's cut like, 40%, then it's cut like 80%, and then it's gone. So it's something that we didn't forecast. So what you also want to do is you also want to try and get a temperature or a pulse for what's going on in the market or what will be coming up in the market. What are the shifts that will be coming? With Raleigh, Tesla's coming and Apple's coming, and these are the execs that are coming to the area. You also have Amazon, who's going to have more of the hourly employees coming to the area. So now you have execs who need entertainment, such as Go Ape and the rest, etc. And now you have employees, hourly employees, who are going to come and they're going to need, entertainment as well. So do you build your business model to accommodate these execs who are willing to pay, $300-400 for a, month membership? Or do you accommodate the persons at Amazon who may want to pay, $50 for a monthly membership? So you have to really and truly understand the market. You have to understand your product, right? And can your product be stretched up or can your product be stretched down?
And is it like wishful thinking, I guess, if you wanted to try and market for both so you could have like a more premium plan, or do you think that could work out as well?
You don't want to do that because now it's distorted. Like nobody knows who you are. Okay. So if you ask most moms, where will they stop? If you're taking the road trip, if you ask most moms, where will they say? Where will they stop? Would they stop if they get to a stop and they have Uncle John's hamburgers and they have McDonald's? Where are they going?
McDonald's.
It's easy. It's quick. I understand. I don't have to sort through. I don't have to read. I don't have to Google, and I don't have to Wikipedia, and I don't have to, get questions. I don't need to find out if they had food poisoning. I don't need to find out. I don't need to find out anything. The only thing I need to know is I can go to McDonald's. Johnny likes the Big Mac. Sarah likes the chicken nuggets, and Bob needs a milkshake. It's easy. So when you're doing a product, it has to be that transparent and that easy for the viewer to say. They can look at it and, your attention span. You're not going to be looking through all this stuff. You're going to look at it and you're going to be, oh, that's identifiable. I've got it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So when you're doing your market analysis, you don't want to spend money going over here, because what happens is you wind up stretching yourself in an area that you're not familiar with and you waste dollars. When I was in the hotel industry, I used to handle what was called transient sales, and those are individual travelers, but they make annual agreements. So to give you an example, one of my accounts, so for a typical meeting, you might get like 50 room nights. That means over a time period, you have 50 people, 50 stays. So it could be 5 people staying for 10 nights, or it could be 50 people staying for 1 night. But and this is
per year. So each year they've got 50 stays that they can use.
So wait, let me give me an example. So that would be one meeting for one company. So that is what group sales did, right? Right. They would do with those meetings for the company. I did transient sales. So I would go to Mr. Marriott or Mr. Mr. Sass. I would go to Mr. Sass and I say, Mr. Sass, you have 30,000 people coming to Raleigh, 20,000 people going to San Francisco, and 5,000 people going to Houston. I want all that business. What do I have to do? So then what I would do is I would create a proposal for him, work with those other 2 hotel locations, right? And then what I would do is I develop a compliance program so that the employees knew that these rates were in place. What I had negotiated was in place. But then we'd also be able to benchmark whether or not their travel was coming to our hotel or somebody else's hotel. Were employees complying with what the hotel standard and their travel policy standards were? Okay. So in doing all of that, I'm sorry, in doing all of that, I had to make it crystal clear what our product was. I could not be like, well, Hyatt, well, we can accommodate, you know, this and we can accommodate that. No, most corporations, they have tiered travel. So they have VPs who stay at like maybe a Ritz-Carlton or something like that. They have managerial staff, and then they have like another level, which might be like the truck drivers. And the truck drivers might say, look, you know what? I understand I can stay at the Hyatt for $100 a night, but if I stay at the Do Drop In for $40, I can pocket $60.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I can keep, because they're given an allowance, so I can pocket $60. So in my marketing, I don't necessarily want to market to the truck drivers because I can't give them $40 a night. You know what I mean? I can get more room
Yeah.
nights for the company, but I can't give them $40 a night because that's not what my hotel is. My hotel is $100 a night. I can't market to those executives because those executives are expecting VIP, concierge service, and all this other kinds of. And I'm not running my staff ragged trying to meet their expectations because we just don't have it. So if I can stay within my realm, right, my expertise with that director level marketing, they're business people, they come in, they just want a good meal, you know, they want a friendly front desk, and that's it. They're not asking for, you know, a shoe shine and all this other kind of stuff.
Mhm.
I'm here. Then what I can do is I can say, hey, look, you know what? That was for, what company did I say? I forgot.
You said Mr. Sass.
Oh, SAS. So I'm talking about SAS Corporation, right? So if
Mhm.
I've got that model with SAS, it's very easy for me to go to UPS and say, hey, UPS, you know what? This is our model. Do you want to buy in? And if you want to find out if we really work, contact SAS, and SAS will tell you how good we are with this clientele. And now I've got
Yeah.
SAS and I've got UPS. And I say, hey, look, you know what, FedEx, I'm interested in you, and I've got this particular product. And I want you to contact UPS and SAS, and they'll tell you how good we are with management.
Mhm.
So by creating that brand, what happens is you get to expand this way, right? And so I always did 125%, 150% of my quota. I always nailed it, right? Because
Mhm.
that's what I did. And what I did was I would go to other hotels, my partner hotels, as a Hyatt employee. I would go to my other Hyatt hotels, and I would get them to buy into the same concept so that I could get my client to be loyal to stay at Hyatts wherever they travel, right?
Mhm.
So the thing was, when I got there, the sales rep before me was not a strategist like me. So the sales rep before me, if 80% of our business or 70% of our business is transient during the week, I want more transient during the week. That's a model that works. I don't have to buy ice cream scoopers. I don't have to do anything. I can just stay right here and everybody's good, right?
Mhm.
So what she wanted to do was she wanted to get more weekend business, because on the weekends we were getting like, I don't know, like 40% occupancy. And let's say like on the weekdays, we were like 70% occupancy, right? Something like, I don't know what it was, something like that before I got.
Mhm.
So what was happening is, in order to get more of that weekend business, she had to develop new flyers. She had to develop all kinds of promos, you know, a sleeping, what do you call it? Slumber party package and a wedding package and da, da, da. And not to say that all that is bad. And, you know, I get the packets and all that kind of stuff, but I don't want to spend a whole lot of energy trying to build up something that I may not know much about. And I already don't have a lot of success. And if I'm getting one or two people here, one or two people here, one or two people here, I'd rather stand over here where I'm getting 10,000 people a pop. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's like unnecessary or unneeded when you can just focus in and build up what's already successful, where like you can upkeep what's not working as much, but then build up what's working even better.
And then you become a master. And guess what
Mhm.
you do as a master? As a master, you now have these clients over here saying, tell me how to do this. Tell me how to do this. I need help with this. And so now as a master, guess what? You become valuable.
Mhm.
And
They start
as you
coming to
are
you for
more,
stuff.
and so when it's time to negotiate, you know what? They're saying, hey, Kelly, you know what? Look, the Marriott down the street is offering us this. What do you think? What do you think? Because I know you're honest and I know you understand the market, blah, 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 blah. So you want that type of power and visibility. And the only way you get that is by being a master, by knowing. And even when you're a master, you don't become a master and you stop mastering. Because as I said, the market's always changing. With coronavirus, you need to be a master. If you're a master before coronavirus, when coronavirus hit, those same clients are going to come to you and say, Kelly, what do we do?
Mhm.
And if I know that my business clients, when they come to the hotel, And I didn't do groups. I did transient, I did those annual contracts. But if I know when my business clients come to the hotel, they do a lot of, I don't know, they do a lot of, flip chart stuff. I'm going to say flip charts. I can't do those flip charts. What I can also do is I can call my other hotels in the other markets because I've already developed a relationship with them and they know that I'm an expert. And I'm going to say, hey, look, you know what? I know that my clients do flip charts. What else are your clients doing that are best practices? Okay. So we got three different best practices. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a package and we're going to get this package out to the clients and say, hey, look, this is what we offer.
I see. Yeah, that makes sense.
We don't have to create a whole lot of packages because we're all in the same market.
Yeah. You just got to create good ones. You just have to have the few ones that are going to work and sell.
With my other market experts who've already mastered it. So all it is just cut and paste. Versus, like I said, if I was working on all that weekend business, nobody's coming to it. You know what I mean? Coronavirus was probably worse during the weekend. So just, anyway. But you get a general gist of why supply and demand is so important, to look at the different angles and understand. You're looking at quantity, how much do you want to have available? If you're building a hotel, and I'm going to use hotels because that's my background. If you're building a hotel, do you want to build a luxury hotel with 50 rooms? Do you want to build a 150 room hotel? Do you want to build a 500 room hotel? What will the market bear if you're doing that, right? If you're doing a podcast, let's say, do you want to do because some podcasts are 7 minutes. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, really short ones, like video length.
So do you want to do a 7-minute podcast? Do you want to do a 30-minute podcast? Do you want to do an hour podcast? What is the attention span of your viewers? Well, if the attention span of your viewers is 7 minutes, then you want to take all your podcasts and make sure you slice them up to like 650, because at 7 minutes they're turning.
Or you can like break it up into segments, right? Like you can have multiple parts of like one interview and stuff like that. Like you can break it up into like how you had the timestamps in the video in the podcast with Tori talking about the different things. Like I remember there was all the timestamps with like where she was talking about how she tore her ACL, where she was talking about how she was considered like slower growing up and how that affected her, stuff like that. And then how she changed it. You can break up the sections and have different segments so people can find what they need or like want to focus on.
If that's your audience, you don't know
if that's your audience.
If that's your audience.
But then there may be an audience that likes binging out like an hour long talking about everything at once.
Because they have nothing else going on. So because they have nothing else going on, they're like, look, I want somebody that I can build a relationship with, right? They can go from what do you call it thing? From podcast to podcast to podcast, but they may be like, they just want a relationship, It's like, I'm from New Jersey, we want to get it done and that's it, and let's go. Right? So the way that I keep people from New Jersey, from my hometown, engaged is I got to put some kind of humor in there. I got to do something silly along the way, which is my style, because I am silly. I love life. But I got to do, whether it's animation, see how I'm talking with my hands and animation? I got to do animation. I got to do something to keep my people up north engaged, because they're not going to be engaged otherwise. They're not going to sit there and listen to you just talk. That's not going to work.
You got to keep it entertaining or enchanting to keep their attention, because that's their audience. Because
they'll turn. The other thing is, my friends from North Carolina, my people from North Carolina, they want to sit down and talk and pull out a Coca-Cola and some lemonade and some, some whatever, some country, whatever eat or whatever. And so because they want to do that, they don't want you to give 7 minutes. If you give 7 minutes, they think you're superficial, shallow, you're from up north, you're pushy, you're da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So that's why I do my videos with timestamps, because for those who want a relationship and want to build, they can look at it for an hour, hour and a half, whatever. But for my friends from New Jersey, they'll read the title that says up top, that is listed up top, and they'll scan those timestamps, and they might find 2 or 3 sections that they want to look at, and they'll look at those 2 or 3 sections. But if those 2 or 3 sections are engaging and energetic and fun and exciting and all this other stuff and educational, then maybe they'll look at 4. Then maybe they'll look at 5. Maybe they'll come back.
Might keep pulling them in.
So that's why you have to understand your market. So what we did today is the feasibility study to give you the framework of what you could possibly do. So now after you look at this framework, right, which we haven't gotten to yours yet. We haven't gotten to yours yet. That's why I want to hold off. We're probably going to look at publishing your first, like your first set of videos, like July 1, something somewhere around there. Okay. So
And the
I was
first set of
thinking,
videos, is that of the like the ones we did with Coach Vaughn and Tori, like those videos, or what type of
whatever
videos?
you want to do, whatever you want.
Okay.
I mean, if it's a 7-minute video, if it's a 30-minute video, I don't care. But I'm thinking that we don't want to really publish anything until that time, because what I'm looking at is, when are people going to be home and when are you going to get the most traction? So you're either going to do it on a Sunday, or you're going to do it somewhere around a holiday where families sitting down talking, et cetera, et cetera. So if you hype it up, the family will look together at that time. So I'm thinking like right around that 4th of July thing, or a Sunday in July when we could possibly do that. You know, it'd be great if it was a thunderstorm, because if it was a thunderstorm, or not a thunderstorm, but if it was raining outside, then noise.
Yeah, and then people are reined in, stuck inside, they got nothing to do, and then they can watch the clips of the podcast.
Yeah, so if you hype it up, you know, that could happen. So what we're actually going to do is, like I said, I don't want to go through the exercise with you, but you understand the concept of, it's not just supply and demand. There are factors, there are moving factors in there, and you need to find your area or your space that you've mastered and really work on that area, and then move forward. So what I want you to do is, or what we're going to do is, we are, and I want to relate to, okay, so now that we've finished the Beyond My Expectations point, I want to move to your business, okay? Your business. So with your podcast, what I'm looking at is, we are going to look at these videos and find out, like, as we look at them, what did we nail? Like what do we think is exciting, engaging, whatever, right? And then also we're going to look at is the length, right? You know, 40 at 20 minutes, were you bored? You know, at 10 minutes, I mean, like, what was the time span? So then after we look at those different, the time span, the content, the person that showed us the exercises, you know, all that other kind of stuff. After we look at this, what we'll do is we'll create a Likert-like survey, right? Based on what you nailed, not what you didn't do well at, what you really liked. And what we will do is we will ask our audience, right, what's most important to them. So if, you know, we're saying, look, the time could be between 7 minutes and 15 minutes, but we also have some 30 minutes, right? We can ask the customers in the Likert-like scale, how do you feel about a 7-minute clip? You know, or how long would you say, if a video, do you think you can get the information you need, the content that you need in 7 minutes, you know, from a video? And they'll put strongly agree, you know, agree, you know, neutral, strongly disagree, whatever, you know, they'll circle that.
One question I have is, will these podcasts and stuff be uploaded on the website, or did you also want to upload them onto YouTube?
So what I was thinking, and I'm vacillating on this, do we create your own YouTube channel to be published on the website? Which I'm thinking that's how we'll do it, is we'll create your own, well, I'm not vacillating. That was kind of what I was thinking of, is you would create your own YouTube channel, but it will be published on our website.
I see. So we can upload through both, sort of. Like, we can have it up on the channel and then it's also placed on the website, or?
Right. Right. But I want your own, I want you and Ethan to come up with a website.
And George.
I mean, you and George, I'm sorry. You and George to come up with a YouTube channel, and we'll do it all three together, do that YouTube channel. And I don't know exactly how it's all done, but you can tell me, but we'll do a YouTube channel, and we'll do a series of YouTubes, right, under that channel. So that way, no matter how old you are, if you're 75 years old and you move to, you know, Alaska, you still have that YouTube channel that you can access. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you go on job interviews or whatever, I want you to always be able to access that. If you want to export it and put it someplace else or something like that, you can always do that, but you'll always have a resting place on the website.
Because what I was thinking was that I'm not sure how useful it would be, but I know on YouTube you can make like community posts that goes out to all the people subscribed to you, and you can kind of do the like surveys there, because you can put the question and then have like the poll answers, and it'll show you the percentages as well when you answer it or when you're viewing it. So you can have like the question be like or you can just do polls, like, you know, ask what length would you guys prefer, stuff like that, which is your favorite, and you could have like 7, 10, 30 hour, whatever, or you could do are you gaining enough information from the 7-minute ones, or like have the statement, I'm gaining enough information from the 7-minute ones, and then have the strongly agree, disagree, all those. So you
That's
can,
perfect. That's
okay.
perfect. So what we'll do is we'll do a Likert type survey for that, but we'll do a Likert type survey for either Beyond My Expectations or Forward Life Coaching before we do that.
Mhm.
And then after we do the one for Forward Life Coaching or Beyond My Expectations, probably Forward Life Coaching, because Beyond My Expectations is probably not going to happen until December. Like the facility itself will not probably happen until December. So if that's the case, we can do a survey on the videos that are on the Forward Life Coaching site, a Likert survey. What works with that, that's what we'll put into yours. Do you know what I mean? Like I have my friends, and I know certain people are going to watch my video and whatever. I need to make sure that when you guys do yours, that it is 100% correct.
I
So
see.
if
So
we
you
make
can do it like as a test run, and then once it's finalized, you see that it works or that it's doing good, then we can put it onto ours.
because I need you guys, if you're coming out and you're like, oh wait, I shouldn't say coming out, but you know what I mean? If you are presenting your site,
Mhm.
right? And
Our
this is going to,
debut needs to be like perfect.
because there's not going to be a lot of there. I mean, people will say there's forgiveness, whatever, but if this is something you're a senior, you know, and if we do this right, you can use this when you're applying to colleges, you put your website on there, you know, and like I said, you go to your guidance counselor, you give them your website of what you're doing. If you do this right, it is so powerful. So we want to make sure that we, you know, you can reference that you did your stuff, you got your training here, but not only did you do your training here, you actually did the application here, right? And so I love the fact that you and George are working together with me, of course, because that also shows teamwork and collaboration. And that is one of the challenges sometimes for employers finding employees. But I wanted to find a way to make sure that we earmark that your expertise is in one area and that George's expertise is in another area, because I want you to have leadership skills. I don't know if you heard me say that when you, when we did the interview, like I need you to supervise something and I need George to supervise something. But I don't know what it's going to, we don't have to figure out exactly what it is just yet.
We can find that out later on when we like see what we enjoy supervising or like what we like doing, what we're good at, stuff like that.
Because then what will happen is now you can put on your resume leadership in this particular area, right? So everything that I'm doing for you or everything that we're doing together is I'm trying to make sure that you have the most solid platform to build off of in the future.
Makes sense. Thanks.
Cool. So once again, I'm glad you made the suggestion about recording the whatever this thing,
the Zoom call, the meeting.
Benchmarking, because
benchmarking. Okay.
That is essential, or the supply and demand, the benchmarking, because that is going to be essential for please forgive me, essential for understanding how to do the survey and what to put in the survey.
I see.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you start to look at, with regards to exercise videos, what is the supply and the demand? You know, this video has, and I'll just give you an example. This video is 7 minutes, but they have 30,000 hits, you know? And when I look at them, when I look at this, look at the, what do you call those things? You know, when I look at that genre, right? I'm seeing that there are 20 in there, and all 20 are getting thousands of hits. Well, then there's an opportunity for you to get in there because those people are very loyal. You know, they are scanning that arena. But if you look at that and you see one 7-minute video has 30,000 hits, and all the other 7-minute videos have like 100 hits. What's the difference?
Yeah, you got to find out why it popped off, like what made people want to watch it more.
Right. Why is that one on the top? And then once you see what's on the top, can you duplicate it? If you can't duplicate it, don't go in that arena, because there's already somebody who's an expert. So if you come out there and you're not at the top of your game, people are going to dismiss you alive. And that's why your site needs to be correct when you present it. Because like I said, people who are watching my site, they're my friends. You know what I mean? And I can always say, you know what, John, my friend, can you do me a favor? Can you just check out this video? And they know me, right? Your footprint is not out there in this arena just yet. And so if you start off in this arena and you are not 100%, your age group is very critical. And you might not bring them back again.
Yeah.
So that's where that all is. So now that we've gone over the whole benchmarking thing, like I said, what I want to do is we're going to go over the videos, not today because it's almost 3 o'clock. We're going to go over the video, you know, what I gave you, the videos for the podcast. Remember what I gave you, the podcast, that scenario, that screen, the checkoff list for the podcast. I wanted you to look at 10 podcasts,
right, yes.
and give me your feedback on those 10 podcasts. Okay. So
I
now
I need to check my emails again to see if I can find those.
No, we're not going to go over that because it's almost 3 o'clock. We have exercise coming up.
Okay.
So what I want to do is I want to make sure that you saw the broader scope, right? Now we're looking at a tangible product. Now we're going to be measuring apples to apples. Remember beforehand when I told you, I said, like, you can look at the peripheral, but you really don't know some of the details. Like, you don't know the cost, you don't know, certain things that are going on inside the operations.
Yeah.
Now you're going to get a little bit more meat than you did from just Googling the supply and demand. I mean, you know what I mean? The parameters on revenue. So this is going to give you more of a tangible overview where you can see like how many views they got. You can see, what their style is, what their format is, etc. And then based on those styles and their format, then what I want us to do is I want us to come back, discuss what we saw, uncovered, and then come back and say, hey, look, based on what we saw, this is what we can produce. This is what we can make out of our group and make it successful. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we can target specific things.
Right. So if we understand what the market is, and this is not for your segment right now. This is for the forward segment, because remember what we said, we're going to look at the forward, we're going to do some testing with the outlay or overlays and all, whatever. So we're going to do some testing. So we need to find out what is successful, what do we already have, and what can we incorporate in forward, right? And then once we figure out what we can incorporate in forward, then we're going to take it and we're going to roll it over, because now we got something tangible and we've done an example. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take it over and we're going to roll it over to
Beyond My Expectations or our segment?
No, to yours.
Okay.
We're going to take it, we're going to roll it over to your site, and we're going to say, based on this, this is how we want to handle this particular site. We want to make sure that we have these features. We want to make sure we do this. And then what we do is we make the Likert example or the poll example, and we send it out and we say, hey, look, are we correct? What we're thinking is correct.
Yeah, we check with the community, see what they think.
So next meeting, what we'll do is we'll talk about the podcast, the education. I mean, I'm thinking the sports podcast for forward, and we'll talk about. Please forgive me. I still want us to start talking and start thinking about logo and naming and that kind of stuff. But once you get a feel for the market, then you'll be able to talk more about logo and the rest. You're just you're not ready for that yet. You're not ready.
We need to set all the foundations before we go into all those things.
And I'll tell you a quick story, and then we got to go. So one guy I was working with, he's in California, right? And so I love Alex so much, right? He's my client. I love Alex. So Alex said, I said, Alex, what's your business about? He said, it's about peace and love, right? It's about love and people coming together in love and all that stuff. And I'm just trying to help people heal and become whole or whatever. So I said, well, Alex, he said, I want you to see my logo, right? Because I'm his coach, right? I want you to see my logo. I said, okay, I want to see your coach. He sent me his logo, and it had like 2 fists with chains breaking, like looked like the prison chains breaking. And I was like, Alex, I said, is that love? He said, yes, this is definitely love. I said, well, you know what? In his eyes, in his market, it may have meant love, like breaking the chain, but to me, it scared the heck out of me. I'm not his client, So once again, like I said, you need to make sure that you're understanding. You may have a perception, but your client or your audience may have a different perception, and that's why you do the Likert test and the polling. So I'm going to click off, and we're going to click on to the other conference,
Okay. Did you,
Because-
did I need to prepare a statistic for this? Because I didn't see any message saying I needed one. I wasn't sure if this was just for us to do exercises or not.
Yeah, we're just gonna do exercise and we're just gonna do a quick intro of him and I'll ask him what the questions are, but I need to click over right now. I've never met
Okay.
this guy, I've only talked to him on the phone. So let
Okay.
me click over real quick and we'll do it, all right?
Okay. And I'll be joining there as well, the 3 p.m. one.
Yeah, please do. This is all exercise, all right?
Okay. Yep.
Talk to you later, bye.
Bye.